every jam I ever got into this business, whether it was financial, whether it was trying to learn more, get connected to resources, God always made a way for me to get to the next level. I mean, I started in a Shell gas station with a broken grill and a broken fryer, and wound up, ranking top 10 in the world in cheesesteaks. No, not just cheesesteaks. Let me refresh myself. And sandwiches and period. So, all of these things that I was able to do is off of the belief of myself, because once you leave an environment and you see more in life, more you want, it's like an addiction. I just want to show people not only that I can do it, they can do it too. Like, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up because you come from a community that society don't have standards for you. Create the standard. Be the person that you want to be. And that's what I'm pushing.
Derrick Hayes, listen, I am pumped. I am pumped to have you on, and your story is fantastic. So I want to dial it back just for a hot second. Growing up in Philly, your grandfather had a huge influence on you.
Yeah.
Get me inside of that a bit.
Growing up in Philly, coming out of a two-parent household, watching my family, just work from Monday through Friday. My grandfather was a cement mason. My father was a construction laborer for him. So I used to literally watch my father and my grandfather come home every Friday with all this white stuff all over him. It was sheetrock stuff and concrete. But needless to say, when my grandfather would cook Sunday dinners, and I didn't go to church, I would have to finish his Sunday dinner. And that's how I learned how to cook. I got a lot of my grandfather life more so in Athens than Philly, because when he was in Philly, I was a little kid. I was probably about like 5 or 6 years old, maybe 7 before he left. But when I got a chance to, come in the summer times to Athens, Georgia, and then I wound up residing there. But just growing up under his roof had a lot of rules, a lot of, principles and stuff like that. But one of them was, if you didn't go to church, you would have to finish my Sunday dinner. That was the rule. So, I tell people indirectly sometimes you don't know what your calling is. For me, it was cooking, indirectly learning it through my grandfather.
Mm-hmm. And then you relocate to Atlanta.
Yes.
Which is, Derrick, I am in Atlanta as well, and relocated from Michigan to Atlanta. So I got to tell you, I'm kind of jonesing for this story. Get me inside of why Atlanta. Why Atlanta for you?
Well, for me, I just want to rewind a little bit. So, in 2002, I came to Atlanta when I was just getting out of the 9th grade. I was getting in trouble in Philly, and my parents wanted me to go somewhere where the environment was better for me. I was playing basketball at the time. So it was just like, we used to make that joke like, Will Smith getting sent off to Bel Air. I was getting sent off to Athens. So when I finally got there, I hated it. I mean, it was totally different from what I was, how I was brought up. I didn't see people walking around. I didn't see many cars. I'm used to people honking a horn at you if you're in their way. Like, all of those things was getting missed. But, over the time, I started to realize that, I have to make this place a home or I'm going to be miserable here. Mm-hmm. So I started to, open my arms and, open my ears and talk more to people, just learning the environment a little bit more. And me playing basketball just opened those doors for me. And I never went to school with other races until I moved to Athens.
Got it.
So it helped me so much, just in life in general, taking those lessons with different cultures and different upbringings and stuff like that. So Athens was a challenge, but Athens, I look at it as one of my biggest blessings in my life.
Did it at some level, was it a bit of turning your life around, Derrick? I know you've said that, right? A little bit, a second chance of sorts.
Yeah. So I actually been on the wrong side of the law. When I got out of school, more so than me just getting in trouble and Philly in the beginning. More so when I got sent out of Philadelphia to come to Athens, it was because I was getting a lot of fights in school, stuff like that. Seeing where I'm from, we don't have gangs. We got neighborhoods, so you got to walk through the other neighborhood to get to school. So when I would walk the neighborhoods, I would get, in trouble with other, neighborhoods. And my father was like, it's time to go. But when I got out of school, that's when, I started to really get in the streets and do the wrong things that put me in a bad position to get incarcerated. So.
And take me inside of that, Derrick. I mean, so you were incarcerated.
Yeah.
And what did you learn? And then you step into a second chance and clearly shifted your behavior, your mindset, your environment.
Yeah. Well, I felt like a failure. I mean, let's be real. When you're a disappointment to yourself, I mean, that's the biggest disappointment. You know, I had everything going on in my life, not just basketball, but just, you know, me having a different upbringing. I seen not only my parents, but my cousins, my big brother, just everybody always work to get what they want. And then I get tricked into the streets, and because I now get tricked into this fast money, this fast environment, you know, not realizing what I'm doing to society. And it woke me up in a biggest way, because, you know, you go from being one of the things that your family praised to one of the things that you are a disappointment to. So I didn't like how that felt, and I told God if He allowed me to get out of this, I would straighten my life up and I wouldn't break the law again. And how I actually got out of that is because the DA wasn't ready to finalize the case, and the judge gave him a certain amount of time while I was in the courtroom and said, listen, you got 20 minutes, I believe it was, and my lawyer tapped me and said, stand up, Your Honor, we've been standing in here, and they threw the case out. And while I was walking out, the DA was walking in. And that was my biggest blessing, to say that, you know what, I don't feel like God gives you too many chances when you know you're doing wrong, and I knew I was doing wrong, so I said I was going to do right from here. And that was just one of the things that woke me up with what I was dealing with in my life. And let me tell you, some kids take a lot of the wrong turn by just not having the resources and the understanding what society has to offer. I didn't know what society has to offer anymore, because I'm now looking at, like, I'm in this suburban neighborhood now with my grandparents. I'm going to school with different races. But now when I'm out of 12th grade, I'm back in society. I'm back to society that I came up in. So I have to adjust back to the jungle again, and that's just really what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you give the DA, you know, free Philly cheesecake sandwiches now? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, you should be, bro.
Right.
Are you? I'm
know
just saying.
I know the people that was trying to put me behind bars are proud of me. I know they see my story right now, and
Yeah.
I know that they look at people like me and look at it like a blessing, not like I just got away with, you know, a crime or
Yeah.
something like that.
Sure.
But God just gave me a second chance at life, and I'm taking advantage of it.
Yeah, you sure are. And Big Dave's, right? So it's in honor of your dad.
Yeah, Big Dave's the honor of my father, man. I respect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Died of cancer,
Yes.
right, Derrick?
Yes.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit about the origin story. I got to tell you, you know, I'm in Atlanta, right? I mean, this
I'm gonna walk you
gas station in Dunwoody, man, get me. And it starts with Italian ice, and now you got what?
I'm gonna walk you through it though. So when I was in Athens, Georgia, going to school there, so how I really got back to Philly was my Aunt Teresa. She was fighting cancer, which is my father's big sister. She passed away in 2005. That was my rock. That was the person who helped me with my education, that kept me straight. I listened to her. She was my guidance. And she wound up passing away, and I couldn't stay there. I just left in the middle of my senior year and went back to Philly. Now, to fast forward, in 2009, my father get diagnosed with cancer, but he don't know he has cancer yet. He think he has pneumonia. So we're going hospital to hospital, because my dad out of nowhere just started coughing and not feeling good. And the hospital said, you have the flu. One hospital said he had pneumonia. And then the last hospital, you know, they said they found a mass on his chest the size of a golf ball, and he needed to get it checked out. So they gave him they gave him the procedure that he needed to get, and found out that he had stage 3 cancer. And that was like my nightmare to me, because I just had watched my aunt die, somebody that, you know, I grew up raising me my whole life. And now my father is battling this. But this story gets wild, because in Philadelphia, we have a lot of good cancer treatment centers. Like, one is Fox Chase, but they were backed up. So my dad wound up going to Athens and then going to Emory University in Atlanta to get his treatment. Now, to fast forward, after my father wound up passing away, after I quit my job and I come down to Atlanta, you know, fight this cancer with my dad to the day he stopped breathing. But the one thing that he told me was he wanted me to break my generational curses, stand on my 10 toes. Like, my dad looked me in my face and told me he was going to die, and he died a couple of days later. But just imagine, like, you know, you gotta, you know, suck that all in and, like, stand up and be a man. Sure. And that was hard, you know, a hard thing doing. But let me tell you how God is in my life and so powerful for me. You go years down the line, and I had my first son on my dad's death day. So the worst day of my life,
Wow.
July 6, 2009, that I lost my father. July 6, 2022, I now have my son.
Wow.
You know, that same day, around the same time, the same.
That's a God wink. Those
Yes,
are, yeah,
you know, so
totally.
I have no longer have bad days. When July 6 comes around now, guess what that day is? That's now my son's birthday. That's now our rejoicement. That's me looking at my son, seeing my father, seeing what I bring into the world. So now it's nothing stopping me.
Wow. That is an incredible story of, I mean, given what he shared with you, stop this generational, go forward, and then you have your son on the exact same day, Derrick. I mean,
yeah, it's wild.
You got a really good direct line to the big man, huh?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I talk to him. I talk to the big man a lot, and I know he's in my corner. But every jam I ever got into this business, whether it was financial, whether it was trying to learn more, get connected to resources, God always made a way for me to get to the next level. I mean, I started in a Shell gas station with a broken grill and a broken fryer, and wound up, you know, ranking top 10 in the world in cheesesteak. No, not just cheesesteaks. Let me refresh myself. In sandwiches and period. So, you know, all of these things that I was able to do is off of the belief of myself, because once you leave an environment and you see more in life, more you want, it's like an addiction. I just want to show people not only that I can do it, they can do it too. Like, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up because you come from a community that society don't have standards for you. Create the standard. Be the person that you want to be. And that's what I'm pushing. Well,
and so where did the idea of, you know, this 700 square foot gas station and Italian ice, and where did that come from?
It came from passion, because nobody wanted to rent me a space.
Okay.
And I found this Indian guy on LoopNet, and he told me that if I gave him 6 months up front, he would rent me the space. And I paid him 6 months up front. At that time, I didn't even know what TI was. When you building out a space, you're supposed to get help from the landlord.
Right.
I'm helping him build the space. But again, you know, all of these obstacles I went through is learning lessons so that I can get to the next level. So I don't look at like anybody took advantage of me, or you know, these things happen in my life. Everything happens into your life so that you can be a better you. And me starting that Shell gas station, let me guide you through it. I started out selling just Italian ice, aka water ice, and what we call it in Philly, and I couldn't get a soul to walk through the door. And my mother told me, I want to give my mother credit for this. She told me, she said, listen, why are you complaining and crying when you know how to cook? Put the kitchen in there and do what you want to do. Wow. And I took the last little bit of money that I had, and I put the kitchen in, and I still didn't have traffic. But let me tell you, one day I got an opportunity to feed Eve, the rapper, and she came in there, and I made this chicken cheesesteak like my life depended on it. I don't believe I had $500 in my bank account. Wow. And when I made this sandwich and she bit it, she went crazy. She put it on all of her social media platforms. Next thing you know, I got a line through the parking lot. Day after day after day, I'm building a brand. So sometimes you have to just do what you do best and do what's best for you. And sometimes somebody will guide you and lead you to another level. And that's what she did for me.
Well, and how did you take what sometimes for people is a moment, right? Eve comes in, loves it, posts about it, the whole thing, and turn it into real momentum.
Well,
I mean, real huge momentum.
Yeah, you ever heard, I can take you to the water, but I can't make him drink it.
Totally.
So she took him to the water for me. It was up to me to make him drink it. So over the years, I was able to make them keep drinking it. And guess what? Not only drinking, eating my product and drinking what I'm selling them, they was also believing in my dream, my vision, my purpose, my wants. I was showing my imperfections on Instagram. I just wasn't showing you, hey, look at my wins, look at my wins. No, I was showing you, look at my losses, look at my losses. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep fighting through these losses. That's how we win. We win through loss. We don't win through a win. Win makes you comfortable. A loss makes you keep working for it.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
That's what I did. I kept losing, and I just kept working until I was gaining the wins. And now, like, a lot of people get to the biggest level in their life and lose and don't know how to handle it. I can handle anything come to me because I already know what failure feels like.
Yeah. Well, I love what you just said, Derrick, because I believe achievement can breed complacency.
Yes.
If we aren't intentionally pursuing better every day. And you're on a mission to keep growing, to keep giving, to keep getting better. And So in other words, it wasn't like, sweet, man, I got a line out the door, I'm going to crush it right here. It was, how do I take this bigger and broader and continue to evolve and grow and use your platform, which you're doing, which
Yes.
we're going to dig into, for so much good. Where did the confidence come from, Derrick, to do what you did in a way that, I mean, you didn't go to college, right?
No.
Right. So you graduate from high school. You've got a really, you've got a tough sort of transition to Athens, all of these things. Where did the confidence come from to do what you did when you have $500 in the bank, right? And you don't know, candidly, right? You haven't had an exposure to business, right, at that time.
Yeah. My confidence, honestly, I was stopping myself from tearing up because I get emotional when I talk about this. I mean, my confidence came from my father. I mean, if you believe in something, you believe in something in somebody so much, and you get to like have a last conversation with them, all you want to do is make them proud. And all I wanted to do was make my dad proud. Like I fought it so much, so many days I thought about quitting. It was getting too hard and I can't do it. And my dad's last breath was always in my face. Like, I cannot get over that. I cannot get over my dad eyes staying open and just looking at me while he's no longer here. So I said, I'm never going to stop this until I get to where I want to go. And that's how I really kept the confidence, because it ain't easy, being who I am, coming where I come from, fighting through all the obstacles, not having college education or business acumen and all of these things. And now I have to learn this as I'm making mistakes and sitting with people so they don't take advantage of me, and all these things. And I'm fighting all these battles along the way. It just made me tougher. It just made me want it more. It just made me show people that I'm going to get it even if you don't want to give it to me.
Right. I love that. And oh, you froze for a second there, Derrick. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Derrick?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, I got you. Okay,
yep.
You came back. I want to dig into that for a second. I believe resilience, when it is anchored in purpose, something often bigger than ourselves, is the ingredient, if you will, the key to pursuing that. It's the key to overcoming the challenge. And so, when you think about the moments where it's been hard, the challenges, the rejection, the obstacles, the lack potentially of the exposure to know maybe some of the things that somebody else did because of their own background or upbringing. Do you see your dad's face in those moments, and does that drive you?
Yes. So let me just rewind. When I was a little kid, my dad was into drag racing, fishing, all of these things, but drag racing was something that he really loved. And I watched my dad be loyal to friends. I watched him be loyal to things that wasn't loyal to him. And I used to hold that against me a lot of years, holding that anger in me. Like, when my father passed away, I didn't see many his friends at his funeral, that he stuck his lifeline in his back out for. So that kind of made me look at pictures a little different. But I had to take my own willpower and understand how life is. And the way life is now, we live in a society which is only good for right now. We don't even think about later on. And I said, I'm going to build something so strong that it's going to be for later on and right now. And that's why I uplift people as I grow. I don't wait to get to the top of the mountain. I lift people every level I get to, I try to bring somebody with me, whether that's people inside my circle or that's businesses around me or business that somebody might come to me and say, hey, I know a business that might be, struggling and can use your platform or use your help. Just for example, just a month and a half ago, I gave out $40,000 to a small black-owned business in New York City because I heard their story and I wanted to, be there for them. I feel like you can't take the money with you, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
The one thing that you can take with you is the story. It's going to live forever. And I care more about kids and people being more inspired off the story of, as a young black kid come out the ghetto and now make something nationally known that inspire people around the world. When you come to Big Dave's, you're looking at lines of different races standing on them lines because people respect me. I look at people, I see people, I look at everything that I want to see in the perfect picture the way I wanted people to look at my father. And that's how I mirror myself. I try to, hold some of the stuff that, his composure that he couldn't hold together to do a better job at. And I think that's what makes me who I am right now because I'm living a life that I'm not trying to be perfect in. I'm just living to try to do the right thing.
I love it. And it's anchored in so much gratitude in the platform that you have and the ability to use it to give. It's so cool. And, you know, I've heard you say, and you just sort of alluded to it, right, that once we have a little bit of success, right, you sort of get a different set of problems, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are different problems for you now, right? But you still have them.
I got $1 million problems every
So,
And it don't matter how much you make. You know, I tell my family this especially because I want them to understand this. Whether you're a billionaire, a millionaire, or a thousandaire, or whatever,
right.
Your bills are your bills. And as you make more money, your bills get a lot higher. You know, you start looking at $1 million a month type of bills. That can be different type of stress on you. And again, the thing I try to tell people is don't count what you think a person have, because they have so many different things to run that engine. So my company is a big engine that if one piece is missing, it can mess up that car from running. So I'm not messing anything up from my engine from running. I have to be selfish in certain situations because I know how hard not only that I work, I have a lot of lives in my hand. My employees, I have about 200 employees now, and that's not, you know, that's not lightly, you know, taken to say, you know, I want to make sure that, you know, my employees are happy, taken care of, whether, you know, they have their paychecks, they have their health benefits, their 401ks. I care about all of those things now. So my family now have to understand that my company is my company and Derrick Hayes is Derrick Hayes, because I won't do anything to damage what I built inside of my company.
Yeah, that's so good. What have been some of the hardest things for you personally to navigate in sort of this new layer of success that you're inside of?
Man, I'm going through it right now. Saying no because of the heart I have. And I like to see everybody around me happy, and that's one of the biggest problems that I have. I don't know if that's a problem or a good thing. And then the other thing is, when you grow, you got to let go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that again. When you grow, you got to let go, because as you grow, if people are not on your level, you got to let go. And a lot of those people you may love and care about, but if you're not on the same mission of growth as the business, it will leave you. I mean, right now, I'm not building a famous mom and pops right now. I'm building a famous startup, and it's two different things. We're scaling at a rapid pace right now, and I just need the right people that can run a business and see future. See, the one thing about the brand, we give you opportunity and chances to learn, but you have to understand that if you don't connect to the future, it won't work for this company.
Yeah. No, that's so good. And that's hard. How do you say no? How do you let go? Get me inside of how you do say, this is really common, right? I mean, it is hard to say no, particularly when you have a lot of, the more success you have, the more things that are coming at you, the more opportunities, right? And it gets easy, doesn't it, to sort of go squirrel, 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 shiny object, and get off course. How do you say no?
I'm gonna tell you something I never told anybody.
I love it.
I talk to my dad. I talk to my dad every day. And what I ask him is this meant for me? What you think? And I get a sense from that answer, and I can't explain it, but he gives me the answer every time. So I'm not in this world alone, because he's still marching with me. But any tough situation I get in, I get an answer. I get it my way. For nobody else to understand, but I get the answer, and it comes through my gut, and I can relive with that.
And so you're inside of a hard moment, and you have a conversation with your dad, and then you just sit back and really listen.
Yeah.
And what you hear is what you end up stepping into.
It's like this, right? So, for example, I'm walking into my Series A raise this year. This summer, I'm doing my Series A. I almost had my company for 10 years now, and I'm just now taking a Series A financing. So that's scary for me. That's a big step for me. That's different for me. But, when I talked to my father, he said, we built this to take over. We ain't built this just to be a famous neighborhood spot. So I can live with that now.
Love it.
I can live with that. And, some people will never understand that, because if you are, whatever religion you believe in, that's your belief. But if you believe in the higher power, you can reciprocate what's meant for you. And when I talk to God and I talk to my father, I know what's meant for me. So
does when you do that, Derrick, do you get the clarity for how to say no, for how to let go, for how to step into those conversations? Because That's hard too.
It is. I think what helped me in that is this. Right now, in my life, just where I come from, I don't have many people that can handle my responsibilities, like my bills and everything like that. So I have to be realistic with certain things and say, you know what? I have to make this decision or it's going to ruin everything. And if a person puts you in that position and in that situation, you have to come to the mindset to understand that that ain't good for you anyway, because they're making you judge between the two, them and something that you put your heart and soul into and building a brand. And I think if you be more realistic with yourself, you can understand that the bigger choice is always going to be the brand, because you giving that person to be an opportunity of greatness and they're not coming in and taking advantage of that. So it's actually taking advantage of you. I tell people, take advantage of the situation and not the person.
Ooh, that's good. I love that. Yeah. That's so amen. I mean, well, I think it was Davos Sweeney who told me on the podcast, serve their heart, not their talent.
Yep. And I was also told the same thing. I tell you what, my investor, Richard Ludenis, he said this to me one day. I'll never forget this. He said, D, do you want to build a famous mom and pop or you want to scale a brand? It's two different things.
Totally.
And when I made my dad a promise, I said that I was going to put Big Dave's on every blue sign like McDonald's is on every exit. I cannot scale mom and pop that way. You get what I'm saying? So like
100%.
I had to take an understanding and say, you know what? This is even bigger than me now. Because other people are involved in this. It's other people that's in love with this brand. It's kids right now that's doing the right thing. Doing the wrong thing and watching me to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of responsibility on me. But you know what? I take the challenge because it's nothing can make me go left to do anything wrong. Yeah. Because I see so much purpose and vision in what I want. And I got 5 children that looks up to me and that I want to make sure that I carry the legacy the right way. So when I pass the torch, it's really generational curses getting broken, and not just because it sounds good. See, it's two different things. You got people that says, oh, we want to break a generational curse. But before you break the curse, you have to teach your kids how to be financial literate first. Yeah. You can't break anything if they don't understand the curse. So I want my kids to understand what I'm building. I mean, they got two people in the house, the mother and the father, both are serial entrepreneurs. So it allows us to get them geared up for, the cause. And we're not going to shove it down their throats, but we're going to let them understand, like, this is life, the realness, and this is for play, and this is when things get serious.
Yeah. 5 kids. Okay, now here's the deal. Pinky Cole, slutty vegan. Yes. I mean, how did you meet? It's a great story. I want you to sort of share that.
I'm about to give it to you.
And how do you support each other? I mean, you guys are both blowing and going every day. Get me inside of that.
Pinky slid in my DM, so she probably heard like, why are you talking to her? She's
she was chasing you.
Yeah, so I had my windows broken out during the George Floyd riots, my downtown location, which is my landmark, and I did a video. It wasn't out of anger. It was more so out of disappointment. I told the community, like, all the things I do in the community. Why would you guys do this to my business that we build the community through? And Pinky reached out to me and she said, do you need any help fixing your windows or anything like that? And I said, no, I don't need no help. But I know that was the little insert to get in my life. But I said, let's sit down and let's talk business, see what we can do in the community to help each other out. And let me tell you, when I sat down with Pinky, it was like looking in the mirror, just looking at myself, because everything that I want, everything I dream about, everything I would jump off the cliff for, she would do the same. Like, literally, we are not scared to attack when it comes to anything we want in life. Some people are very conservative and be like, nah, I don't want to lose this money, or I don't want to take this risk, or I'm scared that people are going to see me fail. We don't give a damn. We're going to keep chasing it until we get it. And that's what really connected us and molded us. And what keeps us together right now is we can be passionate about our brands, but also be real with each other to say, hey, what are you working on? What do you need to fix? How can I do this with you? Like, for example, Pinky went out the state before me, so I got a chance to see her cut ribbons outside of Atlanta and know what it's going to look like for me when I do it. And I'm franchising before she do, so now she's able to learn franchising through me. So I'm teaching her about the FDD and how how important item 19 is because it got your financials, not a dollar can be wrong. Like all these things that I'm learning now, I'm able to give to her. So it's like, you know, it's a double-headed sword. We're able to help each other, and iron sharpens iron, and we do that every single day.
Well, and I want it. That's awesome. And so, wow, it's so important. And what a gift that those kids, those miracles, as I call our 3 daughters, see that connection and mutual support. That's awesome. How, when you, sorry, my guys will cut that out. Derrick, you're franchising. I want to dig into this. I mean, this is big. This just happened. And then we're here in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz, right? Arthur Blank. He's been on the show too. Tell me a little bit about, this just went down at Mercedes-Benz. This is big time. And then you're franchising. I mean, like, you're blowing up.
Yeah, so I want to get into the franchising. I mean, like, honestly, it's still so surreal because it's one thing to say I want a franchise, and it's another thing for someone to believe in you to buy the franchise.
Right.
I sold 15 my first month, which was crazy.
That's incredible.
But again, I'm going to go back to the story of me just having a belief in myself. So how I got my first franchisee, to rewind, goes back to Derrick Lewis speaking at a business assembly from my investor, and he said he was the president of Pepsi, and I sell Pepsi, and I'm like, hey, I'm one of the biggest Pepsi sellers in the Southeast. Why don't I have a Pepsi deal? What's up? And 4 days later, he's in my restaurant with his team saying how he could put things into place. And to fast forward years down, he retired, and the first thing he did when he retired was say, I want 10 Big Dave cheesesteaks to put in Central Florida. You see how things work around when you just like
amazing.
You shoot your shot and don't understand. Don't worry about what people think. Don't care about if it's failure in it. Just do you. Be the strong person that you want to be. And I think that's what I did. And then secondly, I was able to sell 5 right after that in South Carolina to Frank and Mark. And it's just been a blessing. And then right after that, I've been working on this Mercedes-Benz deal. I mean, like, I'm going to really give it to you. I mean, I started in carts. I started actually just being their vendor for their training camp. And the line started getting longer, the journalists, the players, everybody loving it. Then I get an offer to come into the stadium, right? When I get an offer to come into the stadium, I get an offer to have 2 locations, which was 2 kiosk carts, right?
Okay.
So I'm on these carts, my team, they killing it. We got the biggest sales in the stadium. And then here come them offered us the 3rd cart. So now we're on all 3 levels at the time. So, being me, I have to be honest. I'm like, guys, this is amazing, but now it's time to treat this organization like a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's because we are a growing brand. We are scaling. And, I got to give the Mercedes-Benz credit because I sat in that room with about 14 people and I told them how I feel on my heart. And I told them where this brand was going, and they believed in the mission. They believed in my dream. And now they built me a brick and mortar in one of the busiest stadiums in the world. And not only that, I signed a 4-year deal. Like, nobody's giving you 4-year deal. They're going to give you maybe a 1, a chance, an option, a 2 to see how you do. But for them to believe in to give me a 4-year deal speaks volume. It speaks respect. It speaks what they believe about the brand. Yeah. And I will say this. We still the highest selling business. That's incredible. Because first game, nobody outsold us that we played. So, like, the things that's happening in my life right now, it's beyond a dream because dreaming, you got your eyes closed. I'm doing it with my eyes open. So I'm seeing it. Every day I'm seeing people walk up to me saying, you're my inspiration. Because of you, I changed my life. So this is bigger than currency. What's happening in my life right now.
Totally. Yeah. And isn't the best part of it those moments, Derrick, where people say, you've changed my life. You're inspiring me. Yeah. In other words, I mean, it's not the run into the bank to throw another whatever in the bank. It's the impact. I heard you say the other day, you're about to bring on another 30 employees and you're changing their life. You're giving them a platform and an opportunity.
Yeah, just think about it. I mean, like, when I see the kids that works inside of Big Dave's, right? Like, when I just went to Charlotte, I got a chance to meet my core team. But while I'm looking at them, I actually let them know, like, don't treat this like a job. Treat this like a career because you have so much movement in this company right now. I mean, if you look at, like, McDonald's back in the 50s, the corporate team, the staff that was with them, if they did the right things, I'm pretty sure they ain't working no more right now. I mean, so the things are, it's like, you have to take advantage of situations when they come to you. So I let my team know, like, if you're a fry cook right now, you have an opportunity to be a GM next year.
Yeah.
Like this company has a lot of movement and a lot of room for you to grow and a lot of things that you want to do. So we don't block blessings inside the house. We want people to spread their wings and grow. I can give you a story really quick. Her name is Chevy. She started off being my fry cook and grill cook and my cashier. And now Chevy is framing franchises. So it's like, she's going around state to state now training franchise teams on how to run a Big Dave's. And she started off just on the grill and doing the fries. So Big Dave's has a lot of growth for movement. And I like to show that. I clap when a clap is deserving. And when it's not, I tell them like, hey guys, listen, we got to step it up because this ain't what this brand represents.
Yeah. So I'm curious. Are the players still getting their hands on some of these cheesesteaks? I mean, are you going down there? I bet you're serving them in the locker room, guys. Are you making them pay? I mean, they got some coins.
The players love it. Not only that, my new restaurant is literally right next door to Arthur Blank Suite. So that's pretty cool. So we're able to, football season didn't start yet, but we're in soccer season right now. And let me tell you what's so good about that. For my business, it's a blessing because it's putting me in front of different demographics, allowing me to have different reach, allowing people to know who Big Dave's is as a brand. And I say this all the time, Big Dave's is bigger than food. Philanthropy work that we do, the give backs, all of those things tie into just one movement, but we use layers and layers to be able to like suffocate that society into a good cause of saying we need this brand here. We have to have this brand here because it's not that this guy just serves good cheesesteaks. 30 or 40 people will have new jobs, and also he's going to be giving back to the community. He's going to be uplifting everything around him. So you got to look at that as bigger than food, and that's what I care about.
Yeah, for sure. And I know your dad is smiling at that impact, so much broader than one heck of a Philly cheesesteak. Yeah. Comcast Rise, you are involved in Comcast Rise. You're involved with lots of other. You give and give and give, as you said, as you're growing, you're giving. And get me inside of Comcast Rise. Some of the other things that you're passionate about inside of our community here in Atlanta and certainly otherwise.
Yes. So just to talk about the Comcast Rise program, that was so special to me because just as me talking about my own give backs, I gave Carver High School $20,000 to do their computer lab over, and they named it after me. So their hub is called the Derrick Hayes Hub now. And when you look at Comcast picking, in Atlanta to be one of the, the recipients of this Rise program is amazing. I mean, you got Houston, you got Jacksonville, you got Richmond, you got Southern Colorado, all of these places that's, got picked for this program. And now I'm able to be a recipient and can speak about the program and how it helped me. And, being a startup right now in America is not easy, and you can get the resources from, some company that big is amazing, like from technology, from the environment of connecting with them on a high level when it comes to business, when it comes to the internet, when it comes to software, when it even comes to just being able to get the $5,000 grant money, because a lot of people right now can't even keep their doors open. So I respect what Comcast is doing. So for the month of May, the whole month of May, they was, reaching out to businesses where they reached out to, I believe, over 100 businesses to get recipients for this program, which was amazing. Super amazing. I mean, if you look at 2022, you got 1,600 small businesses in Georgia that got financially grants from this program. And it's amazing. It's really good what Comcast is doing right now. And I'm going to speak to it from another lens. Me coming from Philadelphia, I grew up watching Comcast. All the 76ers games was on Comcast, so that was my network. That was where I seen my parents pay their bills at. I come from 52nd and Backside. Comcast was literally a block down. So for me, it's a blessing, and my mother get to see me on programs with Comcast, and she's like, wow, that's amazing. How did you do it? And I said, Mom, it's just by me being me, and a lot of companies are starting to understand what I'm pushing. But again, I want to talk about the initiative. You got Comcast Rise giving up $1 million to the Rice program. Rice right now is pushing out, in my eyes, some of the biggest black-owned entrepreneurs out of the country in this program. And Comcast Rise is able to develop that and help that system out. So I always want to be a recipient for that.
Well, it's just, it is such a blessing that you're leaning into it, that you're embracing it. I mean, I can't imagine how many times, Derrick, that at some level you're pinching yourself going, Man, I mean, like, shoot, I'm sure when you were 18 years old, you never thought you'd be sitting across from a good-looking white girl like me. You know what I mean? Having a conversation like this.
I actually felt public speaking in school because that wasn't my strong point. I was always nervous talking around people. I would always care about what people think. Just like I was just on a little the Comcast thing, I enjoyed it so much because it represented everything that I stand for. So I just love what I'm doing right now. I'm in a good space in my life. Nobody can make me take a wrong turn. So I'm just up from here.
Yeah. Tell me this. What would you tell somebody who maybe is feeling a little stuck? You know, maybe because Derrick, the truth is you could have looked and blamed and complained and stayed stuck. A word that I know, complacent at some level. What do you tell somebody that's feeling that way? Maybe at one time in their life, they've killed it. They've had great moments. And then, or some who haven't ever really touched that. What do you tell them to shift from complacency or feeling stuck to going for more?
I like to say this quote that I made up. Life is not a track meet, it's a marathon. It's all about how you end, so run your race. Life is going to have roller coaster rides. It's going to have obstacles. It's going to be times where you feel like you're in quicksand. You're going to tell God, why me? Why me? Why this is happening to me? But always understand it's going to stop raining one day and the sun got to come out again. You just got to keep grinding. You got to keep grinding. And the one thing that you got to understand too is while you looking at other people's lives and you think the sun is shining on them, they actually can be going through their rain.
Sure.
While you thinking they going through their sunshine, you should be focused on yours. And a lot of people block their own blessings that way by paying attention to the wrong things. So understand that your time is going to be your time, and God is never going to give you anything you can't handle, and He's not going to give you nothing that you ain't earned either.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Derrick, I'm going to wrap with rapid fire, so I'm going to hit a couple quick ones to you. You ready, man?
I'm ready.
I'm thinking you played a little basketball, I think.
Let's go.
Although, I mean, I might need to meet you in the driveway for a
little
while.
I know your background, so I know you know sports.
All right, how do you start your day?
Looking at Instagram and my bank account.
Wow. All right. What about do you throw a little convo up to Dad in the morning too?
Oh when I wake up, the first thing I do is I talk to my father. But I thought you were saying like in the business. Yeah. So no.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, honestly. The first thing I've been doing for the last, I want to say 6 months. I want to say 6 months because I like to keep it tight. For the last 6 months, I wake up every morning and my manager, Mike, he gives me a message as a prayer. And I read this prayer. And after I read this prayer, I say thank you. And then I talk to my dad for a quick second. And then I'm on social media and I'm looking at bank accounts, making sure that everything is right. And the reason why I look at social media is because social media is bigger than the news nowadays. You want to make sure that everything is right, because like I have a popular brand. I don't never know what can possibly happen.
Totally.
I have to keep contact of those things. But one thing about me, I keep God in my life, and I keep willpower in my gut, and I don't let nothing steer me from those things. A lot of people are ashamed to have high beliefs in certain situations, and I think I was able to conquer that in this couple years window with myself, understanding who I am as a person.
Yeah, no question. What's the best advice you've ever received as an entrepreneur?
You're going to fail.
Yeah.
You're going to fail.
And we have a low failure tolerance in the world today, I think, which is a problem.
That's because the world makes everything it's supposed to be so perfect. The biggest companies in the world is not perfect.
Totally.
Nobody's walking on this planet is perfect.
Yep.
So why try to be perfect in society? Why try to, if I was on this camera right now talking to you on this podcast, why am I going to be perfect to you when I know God didn't make me perfect? He made me be real. He didn't make me perfect. He just wanted me to be real.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'm still going to have my imperfections.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I heard you say this one time. I couldn't agree more. Sometimes, Derrick, after a keynote, I'll be talking to folks and they'll go, man, like, you're like the same. Or I'll meet folks man, you're like the same. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, what else am I going to do, right? It's a lot easier to be me all the time than try to be somebody else sometimes.
Yeah, and I hear that even with myself. People be like, you grow it a whole lot. Like, you do this and do that still. And I'm like, listen.
Yeah.
I have to still be me at the end of the day.
100%.
At the end of the day, this don't change. Like, I'm not changing as a person. Now, my circles and my whereabouts changed because I'm not going to put myself around situations that that's going to unsharpen me. So that's different, but I'm always going to remain the person that God made.
Yeah. What is a new habit that's improved your life?
Listening.
That's fantastic. Wow,
I had
that's
a
really
problem
cool.
with listening. Because
wow, that's really
when you think everybody wants to steal from you or hurt you or take from you because of the trauma that you had growing up in your life, you have a hard time listening because you think you know everything. And the worst thing that you can think is you know everything, and the worst thing you could be is a know-it-all. So listening allowed me to develop myself a lot more. Even if you don't agree with somebody, what they're saying, listen to it so that you can take the understanding and make it the way that you can reciprocate it to understand what they're trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of years of maturity to understand that. And I'm just getting to a point now where I'm listening more than I'm just talking so that I can understand what I want, and understand the situation.
Well, and the leading indicator, if you will, to that is curiosity. And curiosity is a skill that everyone, almost without exception, that's come on the show embodies, right? Yeah. They're constantly asking questions and listening in service of being able to show up a little bit better and grow and evolve so they can contribute more. So the show's called Game Changer. So one last question. Who or what is a game changer who inspires you and why?
Hey, man, my wife inspires me. She's cool. My game changer. And the reason why she's my game changer because she's the only person that challenges me to a level that make me keep leveling up, because we got this thing where we call, as long as we keep the gas tank full, we can keep driving, and we each other's 93. So we're going to keep pumping each other up till we get to where we're going. So
I love that. Yeah. That's a really good answer. You're going to need to make sure you share this podcast conversation with her because you just scored some points, man.
If I would have did it before, I'd have put it in my vows.
Derrick, this is so fun. Congrats on your success, and most importantly, congrats on using it for good in the world for others.
Thank you.
Awesome to have you.
Appreciate you for having me.
One of the things that I thought was powerful is how Derrick talked about saying no and letting go. And this is something that is so hard for people in the world because often we want to try to help make other people better, and we want to please other people. And I know that this is hard for a lot of people. And as you continue to evolve in your career, as you continue to grow, as you continue to lead, there is going to be more and more situations and opportunities in which we have to say no, in which we have to let go. And one of the things that I always love to say is that when I'm saying no to one thing, at some level, I'm saying yes to something else. And I think we need to kind of consider, or I think we do need to consider this in our lives as we evolve and grow. Another takeaway that I thought was really powerful is his connection and relationship with his father and how, in fact, that is his greater purpose. And I believe strongly that when we anchor our pursuit in life, whatever that might be, if it's Philly cheesesteaks, awesome. If it's being a great teacher, a great mother or father at home, whatever it is, when we anchor it with something that is bigger than us, anything's possible. And he clearly has that in his DNA, and it's driving him every day. And in part, it is a significant way in which he's able to suffocate the moments, the self-doubt, the no's, the challenges, the obstacles, the hurdles, the speed bumps, that greater sense of purpose, that moment of looking at his dad and recognizing, I'm going to commit to what I promised you I would do, Dad. And that is what is keeping, at some level, him going in the tough moments. And I think I would just challenge you to consider if there's something that you're navigating in your life that's challenging, that's tough, as you find yourself with obstacles, which are inevitable, by the way, if we're pushing ourselves. We're 100% going to have obstacles, right? And so if we are, we have to recognize that if we anchor the recovery with something bigger than ourselves, it's the spark that fuels the recovery in that moment. Another takeaway that I loved that Derrick mentioned, and I don't know that I've actually had an answer this crisp and clean quite like this before on the show, relative to what is a new habit. And man, listening. Wow, that was super cool. And at some level, so neat, because obviously he's coming on the show and he's talking a lot, right? Inevitably. And so when he said that, it at some level helped me level up and say, okay, God, wow. It helps you see where at some level that success is coming from, which is, I believe as a leader, listening is imperative. Asking great questions is imperative, but having the courage to create space and then to really listen to the people that you lead, the people that you serve, is such a powerful thing. And so I found that to be just such a powerful reminder of a skill and a tool that 100% creates connection. And as a leader, I would argue it is probably one of our most important skills.